Hello minasan, this is Yuki, and today I'm going to introduce you to a total of 8 classic animes talking about yokai, like Japanese folklore monsters or spirits. Also, not necessarily Japanese, can be also Western type of monsters, demons type anime. Our protagonists often tend to be the kind either living with these kind of monsters, interacting peacefully with them, or sometimes having conflicts and trying to defend humanity against these type of monsters. There are a total of 8 classics that I will mention today, and I'm really wondering how many of them have you heard about or already watched, as you must have definitely come across them as part of the fandom while like scrolling through or reading chats or seeing some Reddit discussions. So feel free to reach back and let me know which ones you like, or if you have any different opinions about why you cannot enjoy certain shows, just comment them. As you might have already guessed, the first anime I will be talking about is Inuyasha. It had been released in 2009 with 167 episodes, and it's talking about our main character Kagome Higurashi, who's 15 years old, a high schooler. She goes to the house of her grandfather, and then she checks there a very old well, and she accidentally falls into this old well and finds herself into feudal Japan. And while she's there, she accidentally frees a half demon called Inuyasha, who had been sealed there by the ancestor of Kagome called Kikyo, who was a priestess. And they both accidentally break down the Shikon jewel, and it gets lost into the world, I would say, that in the feudal Japan. And they reluctantly agree together to go on a journey in order to collect the fragment of the Shikon jewel, because, well, the mission of the Kagome's ancestor and Kagome herself is, as a priestess, they have to protect the order of that world and to defend the Shikon jewel from falling, and its fragment from falling into the hands of really evil and mischievous monsters. Honestly, I feel like no matter how much time had passed, it's still fun to watch, because you are seeing all these types of really old monsters coming from the Japanese folklore, and how they are enticing people and how they are taking over them. I still think it's a very enjoyable show, and it definitely had a lot going on in the latest episodes at that point. And later on, they have now a sequel for Inuyasha story, which goes on to talk about the daughter of the main characters. There are 3 daughters. By the way, the sequel is called Yashahime, and it has, I think, 2 seasons, but not necessarily like separate 2 seasons. It's like the second half of the first season thing. And again, if you love the show of Inuyasha, if you are craving for more, it's really good to give Yashahime a chance. The next anime I would like to speak about today is Kamisama King, or Kamisama Hajimemashita. It was out in 2012. It has 2 seasons, each one of them is 12 episodes. And the story revolves around our heroine Nanami Momozono, who has been raised alone. She's homeless, she's literally living in a tent in a park. And especially after her dad skips paying debt, and then he gets into gambling, and debt collector kick her out of her apartment because it was put as a collateral for her father's debt. And so there is this man whom she saved from a dog. He offers her his home, to be a place of this person happens to be a shrine, and Nanami finds herself unwillingly or unknowingly taking over the job of this man, which is being a local deity. I mean, it's like a local god for that area. And she has suddenly all this new responsibility, and she doesn't understand anything about the situation she's in right now. And at the same time, she has not been properly informed about the dangers of becoming a local deity of that area. And she has to deal again with an ex-familiar called Tomoe, who's really cranky, moody, and who is not ready to accept her as a new deity of that area. Another thing I guess I forgot to mention about Kamisama Kiss is especially that it's one of the classics of shoujo anime. So if I'm doing one day a recommendation video for classic sub shoujo anime, definitely Kamisama's Kiss would be there. And it has a very much fluff mood. It's very calming. It's very funny too. And I would again highly recommend it no matter which time you start this type of you start watching anime. I think it's really good show. Of course, some people say the anime is just an introduction to the manga and it's just the beginning of everything that's going on later. I didn't name it manga, but I hope that you give both of them a chance. Again, there is no way we can speak about spirits related anime without mentioning Noragami. You all definitely know Noragami. I have no doubt about it. But in case you didn't, or in case you have just started watching anime like a few years ago and you were not in the hype of 2014, I would like to tell you that Noragami has 2 seasons, which are Noragami and Noragami Aragoto, and each of them has 12 episodes each. So, in terms of the story, we have Yato, best god character ever. He's a minor deity. He's self-proclaimed delivery god who dreams of having millions of worshippers. However, as a deity, it's kind of odd that doesn't have a shrine, and the reason is simple because he doesn't have many followers. When you have enough followers, people make shrine for you and they start praying for you and they start asking for their wishes to come true. And that's what makes the difference between one god deity character and another. The bigger your shrine is, the more likely people will come, and the more likely people will put in money and put in effort into maintaining it and recruiting new believers. So let's move on from the religious education part to our main story, which is about Yato. He is currently doing a lot of odd jobs for 5 yen, literally just 5 yen piece, to grant wishes to near shore dwellers. The expression near shore dwellers means simply human or living beings, to save up to make one day a shrine. This is its read. And there is our male lead, Hiyori Iki, who supposedly at one day sees Yato almost getting crushed by a car. She tries to save him. Her soul accidentally, willingly or unwillingly starts going out more often from her body, and she starts holding accountable Yato and telling him that he should take responsibility and he should help her fix this issue. And in the season 2, it covers the Bishamon God of War arc, which is again an arc where all the characters get to grow, and there is a huge character development for especially Yato and Yukine. There are more fight scenes, it's more dope, and again, that has its own fun moment, really. Special types of jokes, but I think that the arc of Bishamon sort of starts getting you ready for the next arc, which is the Ebisu arc, and that's something you see in the manga, and I really highly recommend the manga. Drawing is so beautiful, it's so good, it's so well done. Honestly, you wouldn't be bored with it or be, like, have any complaint. Although it's still a shonen manga, but it's not crappy type of drawing at all. It has been actually finished, I think, last year, so you wouldn't be waiting for any new chapters. Whatever is there, you would definitely enjoy it. Moving on now from talking about Noragami, I think it's important for me to mention Blog Exorcist or Aono Exorcisto. And Aono Exorcisto again is one of those short shonen anime that have been a big hype in the early 2000s. Let's say it was early 2011. And Rin Kumura was a very typical energetic teenager guy who was looking forward to his high school life. However, one day when he was ambushed by demons, he discovered that he is indeed the son of Satan, and his demon father wishes for him to return so he can conquer together the human world. However, instead of joining the army of Demon Lord, Rin decides that he will begin training as an exorcist himself so he can fight and then also defend humans alongside his twin brother Yukio. Demon is like the concept of a demon that is trying to become an exorcist is in itself kind of contradictory. It's very unusual, and it's definitely not gonna be an easy mission since he's often surrounded by fearful, distrustful classmates who are more likely to blame him and backstab him at any point of the fight. And I think this is a bit heartbreaking because when you know how honest and how much of a good person Rin Okumura is, would be like, why do this to him? Why not give him a chance? But when you are in a setting where a lot of these exorcists themselves have lost family members and friends and acquaintances to the demons for many years, and how they hold these really strong grudges, to know that the son of Satan is right among them and being roaming around so freely, it's a bit understandable, I would say. But again, it's still a comedy shonen show. Aono just received a third season just recently, just now. So when we never lose hope, should never lose hope around older anime. It had received the third season after like 15, 12 years. She's so unusual. Okay, so now here's Shaman King. Have any of you ever watched Shaman King? In case yes, then which version? Yeah. So we have the classic Shaman King, which was out in 2001 with 64 episodes. And then we have another remake for Shaman King, which was released 2021 by Netflix, which has 51 episodes. I was introduced to Shaman King with the older version, 2001 version. It was broadcasted in Face Power. Yeah. Arabic dub for a while, and then I was like, okay, this is not enough, and I went online and I watched it, I think, with French sub or something like that. Yeah. And the story of Shaman King revolves around our main character, Asakura Yo, who's a laid-back, easygoing person, and who's also the hire of a really powerful shamanic sect called the Asakura family, and working as a medium between the worlds of the living and the dead. Yo seeks to become the Shaman King, to be in contact with the Great Spirit, and also gain the ability to reshape the world in any way he wishes. And for this purpose, he must win the shaman fight, a battle held once every 500 years between competing shamans, families, and people. In the process, Yo befriends and makes rivals, and also gradually learns about the true nature of the shaman tournament. And also, again, his connection to his ancestors. And then we also have another character called Kyoyama Anna, which is Yo's fiance, as you see here, the girl there. Soon enters the scene and prescribes a really brutal training regimen to prepare him for the tournament. The story of Shaman King is revolving around like principles of Buddhism and non-violence. The reviews about the remake, the 2021 remake, I read quite a lot of positive reviews about it. They say it's more fast-paced, that they eliminated a lot of filler episodes, slightly more violent, like the scenes depicting better or maybe more faithful to the manga than the 2001 version. In case you have already loved Shaman King, whichever version you want to watch, 2001 or 2021, and you want something more from this show, you can watch Shaman King Flowers, which has so far 9 episodes. It just has been out now, and it's about the son of, or maybe it's not exactly the son. It's more like one of the descendants of Asakura Yo and also Anna, whose name is Hana. So I might want to give that a chance. I think what really struck me about Shaman King, and the reason why I decided to watch it back then, is the personality of Yo Asakura. Like, he's not dying or becoming overpowerful, because he's already powerful enough. As far as he's confident, he's so laid back. He's not getting into like a really competitive mood. He's not overly angry or overly motivated. He just, like, he has a goal, but it's not like the kind of goal that he would kill over it. And he tries to avoid conflict as much as possible, but of course, if you are entering a shaman fight, it's not gonna be an option often. Moving on to the 6th anime on my list today, we have Kyoukai no Kanta. And I hope that you have already watched Kyoukai no Kanta. In case not, it's an anime that was released in 2012. It has, I think 24 episodes, I assuming, and also 2 movies and some OVAs. The story is around our protagonist, Kambara Akihito, who's a high scholar from Yomo lineage, which means he has special abilities, or let's say superhuman regenerative ability. And one day he takes a classmate called Kuriyama Mirai, whom he thought she was planning to kill herself or jump off the school building. However, he doesn't know that Mirai is actually a spirit world warrior who originally was planning herself to kill Akihito because the people who employed her they thought that Akihito was an anomaly and he shouldn't be alive because of. And Mirai herself, she's a kind of special being because she's not a normal spirit warrior. However, she had this ability to manipulate blood, which makes her very unique among members of the spirit world. And again, because of that, she's very much isolated. She doesn't have so much social contacts. And so a lot of disturbing events began to unfold, and a lot of sacrifices and great decisions come both their ways. And I think that this anime, beside the fact that it has this really interesting storyline fit and interesting powers, it's fundamentally a story about a girl who was the last surviving member of her clan, and also a half Yomo, whose boy shouldn't exist according to the world order they're living in. I don't know if you have saw some clips here and there, but also there is another character called Hiromi Naze, who has such a crazy attachment to his little sister. So I think I don't really need to say it here, but this photo of Kyokou anime screams the word spirits. And Kyokou, or also called in English Inspector, has been released in 2020. It has 2 seasons, 12 episodes each, and we are hoping for third season. I don't know, there have been no announcement yet about it. When an unknown entity threatens the peace of Yokai and humanity, Kotoko Iwanaga, who is the god of wisdom, at the age of 11, at the cost of her right eye and also left leg, she has served as a mediator between the two realms, resolving any kinds of supernatural problems that come her way. And one day, at the local hospital, Kotoko approaches Kuro Sakuragawa, who's a university student whose long-term relationship had just ended, like an unfortunate breakup, and Koto suspects that something supernatural lurks within this harmless appearance, so she asks Kuro for his assistance in helping out Yokai while wishing for her newfound partner to eventually reciprocate her feelings. I think the anime holds the style of detective case solving, so each 3-4 episodes they have a case. They go around interviewing, or say talking to the victims, to the people living nearby, to potential eyewitnesses, or anyone who might be involved either in the human world or their spirit world. There is an even bigger case related to cousin of Kuro or his ex-girlfriend, and there is this thing about like a much bigger threat to the humanity that needs to be addressed eventually. And although you get pieces here and there about it in the first, second season, I feel like it's still unsolved. There is still a big question mark. I really think that Iwanaga Kotoko is one of the best scary mediator there. And if you don't think Iwanaga Kotoko is scary, you really should go through the whole second season slowly and attentively to realize it. Moving on to the last recommendation that I have today for you, it is about Natsume Yuujinchou. And Natsume Yuujinchou, it has been released in 2008. It has 6 seasons and 74 episodes so far. And because of his ability to see yokais, our orphaned teenage boy Takashi Natsume, he was social outcast who accepted that no one would ever believe him and has closed himself off to his current caretakers and classmates. And one day, Takashi breaks accidentally an intangible barrier and frees Madara, who is a mighty spirit in the form of a fat cat, called Nyanko Sensei. And Madara notices that Natsume bears a remarkable resemblance to his late grandmother, called Reiko Natsume, who is a girl who became known across the yokai world for creating the Book of Friends. And since Takashi inherited her notebook, and ability to bind spirits under his control as he defeats them, They decide to make a deal. So Takashi will hand him the book of friends to Nyanko sensei once his time is up, and in turn the cat Yokai will act as Natsume's unofficial bodyguard. And with his newfound goal of freeing those that Reiko, his grandmother, had sealed, Takashi's relation with Yokai and the humans start improving slowly. It's not a shonen anime again, it's more like slice of life, fantasy type of anime. And if you want a really calming show, really quiet Dandere character, you should go for Natsume Yuujinchou. And when he found a way like how to free the spirits without while appeasing their grudges, while doing something for them in order for them not to hold any grudges or not to act in mischievous ways, then it also helped him to get better with the spirits like as friends instead of ruling them by fear or by his powers. At the same time, I think he learned from the spirits how to listen also to people around him, other humans, and to form better relationships. I don't think there's any point in me spoiling the exact details of how this happened, but I think that you wouldn't be watching Natsume Yuujinchou for some really crazy plot changes or fights or if you want fights, you can just go to Shaman King. This is very simple. So that's it for today. Please let me know how many of these have you already watched or tried. I personally have watched like 4 seasons from Natsume Yuujinchou. I didn't finish the 2 last ones. I was thinking like I'll be really sad when it's over, so let me leave it for another day or another year. And that's it. Thank you.